Still looking at muscles of the arm, but now we're looking at muscles of the forearm, the antebrachial region. And so these muscles, when they contract, they are moving the hand and the fingers. Let's look at the anterior side first. All right, so how I orient myself is I look at the palm. So here's the palmar region. And you can see that a bunch of these tendons converge from the fingers, from the digits, to the middle here. You can see it on your own hand. Actually, some people are missing it, but most people have it, that thing here. Okay, so here's the tendon. Extending up, it's got a really long tendon, and here's our muscle. Since it's going to the palm and it's got a long tendon, this is the palmaris longus. Palmaris longus. If we go lateral of the palmaris longus, this is the thumb, lateral of the palmaris longus, now we've got a muscle that connects down to the wrist. This is the flexor carpi radialis. Flexor carpi radialis. This muscle helps you flex the wrist on the radial side. Flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus. Over here, we've got a muscle going down the ulnar side and flexing at the wrist. This is the flexor carpi ulnaris. Flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris. So all three muscles on the anterior side, hopefully you can see a trend, all three of them help you flex at the wrist. Going more laterally, this large muscle here starts on the posterior side, wraps around to the anterior side, or more lateral, I suppose. This is the brachioradialis. We've mentioned it before, but this is how far down it goes. Brachioradialis. You keep going around. After the brachioradialis, we have this muscle here. We're not going to go over this shorter one, but it's related to this. This muscle here that goes down to the fingers, and then one more long muscle. We're only going to go over the longer muscles. This muscle here. So to orient yourself, here is your brachioradialis, and then this middle one, its tendons branch to the fingers. So this middle one, this is the extensor digitorum. It's helping you extend your digits. Helps you extend like that. You can see those tendons here. Extensor digitorum. If we go lateral, because we're on the posterior side now, if we go lateral, this one here, this one here, it's right next to the brachioradialis. This muscle has a really long tendon that goes down to the wrist, and it's on the radial side. Because it's a really long tendon, and because it's on the posterior side, so it would be extending the wrist, this muscle is the extensor carpi radialis longus. It's a long tendoned muscle on the radial side that extends your wrist. Extensor carpi radialis longus. There is a brevis. Brevis means short. I'm not going to test you on it. Extensor carpi radialis longus, brachioradialis, extensor digitorum. And then over here, this is our extensor carpi ulnaris. Extensor carpi ulnaris. It's not the longest. This is just extensor carpi ulnaris. So to go over all that again, brachioradialis, extensor carpi radialis longus. Brachioradialis, extensor carpi radialis longus. Extensor digitorum, extensor carpi ulnaris. Extensor carpi ulnaris. Go on the anterior side. Flexor carpi ulnaris on the pinky side. Flexor carpi ulnaris. Palmaris longus. Flexor carpi radialis. On this anterior side, you can see these tendons. They're covered by what's called a flexor retinaculum. It's to hold the tendons down. You have an extensor retinaculum on the other side too. This is just connective tissue to hold and keep the tendons in line. Extensor retinaculum on the posterior side, flexor retinaculum on the anterior side. You'll notice that these tendons are kind of going through a little tunnel. If you look at the bone structure, your carpal bones form a little curve. This is called the carpal tunnel. These tendons and nerves and blood vessels that are passing through here, they're not protected by bone because of that carpal tunnel. So if you push down and you type a lot without any proper support, you push on that, you can get carpal tunnel syndrome. Carpal tunnel syndrome is that compression that damages your tendons and nerves, and that's why it hurts a lot and can be a chronic condition. So those are the muscles and some features of the forearm region, the antebrachial region. Hope that helps.